Meeting is being.
Over to you, Sipho. Welcome.
Thank you about that a piece of poetry. I like it. Can I must I start by introducing myself, or must I go through my poem?
Entirely up to you.
Yeah.
Pardon?
It's entirely up to you. If you want to dive into the poems, you're welcome. If you want to say more, you're welcome.
No, let me go straight to my poems. Yes,
Great.
I've got about 6 new poems. They are not in the book, The Crowded Lonely Walk. These poems are basically about hiking on the mountains, of which I used to hike a lot. The first poem is titled At a Sunrise. At Salt and Pepper, a scenic mountain, pleasing and breathtaking, great morning view. A splendid dew from a top tip of a colorful petals. Are you still there?
Yeah, we're still here.
Oh, let me start afresh. There was something happening on my screen, sorry. At Salt and Pepper, a scenic mountain, pleasing and breathtaking morning view. A splendid dew from a top tip of a colorful petals runs down a bright sepals to a green stem and down the foot into the deepest roots of Drakensberg Mountain wild Fomoria flower. A smiling rising sun is like a golden full moon sprouting from mountains through the eyes of a mountain trail hiker. Opposite clothing is on: hike boots, a healthy bread sandwich, bottled water are in a hike bag, and all clashed on the back. A sun hat, a camera, and binoculars are like a necklace around hiker's neck and are resting on his chest. A balancing stick on his hand is to balance all day long in exploring the mountain view at a sunrise. That was my first poem. Must I go through? Yes,
Oh, yours, yeah.
pardon?
Absolutely. Go right ahead. You can.
Okay.
You can
My
go.
second poem is titled A Walk. We walk a hike walk, spilling morning dews, sleeping over on green grass tips. Dews split in awakening shrill of our early morning footsteps. They spill high, shining and flipping in the morning still air. Its exuberance is like a piece of glittering diamond, shining against the sun rays on the mountains of Lesotho. Dews falls landing to untouched soil along the trail of Tlalingene River, leading the hiker up to a crystal waterfall. We keep on pondering hope to where a hike walk take us. A walk keep us walking, and walking a hike walk, enjoying the happiness of the surroundings, the wildness, and along the picture square of our beloved riverbeds. My fourth poem is titled The Songs of Birds. Harmonic melodies of birds are sung in a dense forest. Different attractive tunes are heard in a deep, low, and high pitch. Soothing song notes are all love cascade to velvet falls, slowly flow down my nerves, my heart, my gut, taking away sadness, taking it into a fond bliss. My face wears a new smiling and living skin, where all blues met are left dying in lullabies of love of singing birds. Now I'm going to my my fifth poem, which is titled A Dream Meant to Be. At night, I look up at the clear blue sky, experiencing the view as it is lit by stars here and there. The magnificent and unforgettable spectacular of the Southern Drakensberg night in Underberg. Through all the night, I see the landscape so diverse and hear the quietness of the nearby streams. I like the hike trails I imagine along the slopy hills. And I like the dirt roads that are so innocent, stretching in my eyes with their dust sleeping all night long. As the night is getting old, with the stars start fading slowly, I can hear the footsteps as the morning comes, carrying the breeze and the light at dawn. The gorgeousness of nature continues to overflow again in front of my eyes, as I started realizing it is not a dream. Even if it was one worth living for and really meant to be. My last poem, which is the sixth one, it's titled At the Sunset. A sun bows over the Rocky Mountains, where contrails mountain lizards, beg adder, and the Natal red rock rabbit witnesses the sun as it waves, tumbles, and kisses goodbye the hem of the horizon. It is time for the sun to hide itself away from the eyes of a living man. It whispered the vicious hiking day as it started the journey of the hiking and to walk in our sleep. Like life lived through the eyes of this world. As man finishes his life journey, he must end his day somewhere, like a snail sheathing into its shell. The sun allows its mind to continue walking asleep into the dream, counting elans and the ribbok, clip's finger, and the springbok. It's so all a hike at a sunset. Thank you.
Sipho, that's gorgeous. You're allowed to read more if you can find if you can put your hands on a copy of that book. You're absolutely in time to read,
Yeah.
quite a bit more.
Yes. I don't know where have I misput it, Jack, because I can't find a copy. As I said, news actually. I'd only prepared only these 6 poems, the new ones.
Okay. That's a gorgeous reading, and I hope you read to us again. They feel they're recognizably your voice, and they're also different from what you have in what you've given us in the book. It's quite interesting. I don't know if there are any questions. I definitely have a question. I can get us going, but if somebody else has a question, they're welcome to start. But let me say I'm interested in the difference between these poems and what went before. Because The Crowded Lonely Walk, they're sort of city poems, aren't they? And these are you're more comfortable in the space. There's kind of a just unambiguous joy. Has something happened? Are they are you doing different things? It's a wonderful new departure in a way.
Mm. Yes, yes. Thank you to hear that. Yeah, of course, I do believe that if we write poems, but we're not doing similar things, but with me, it's much easier to move from this tone to the other. Like these 6 poems that I've written, actually they are 35 now, but they are mainly about the theme of hiking, loving the nature, as we also have a hiking club. So most of the things, almost all of the things that you have heard through these poems, some of them I have experienced as well. I'm a hiker, I'm a poet as well. Yeah, I've hiked almost all trails here at the Sunny Pass. As you can hear the names of flowers. On the first one, I was talking about salt and pepper,
Hmm.
which is salt and pepper. It's a mountain here in southern Drakensberg in Sunny Pass. Once you visit here, just tell me, I will take you to that place because it has 2 protruded stones that are looking like a salt and pepper containers. So it was then named Salt and Pepper. Once you're up there, you will see how lovely the picture square that you will meet up there.
Okay. I can think of more questions to ask, but maybe I'm going to hand over to Ed now, and he can look at who has hands up and who has formulated questions.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jacques, and thank you, Sipho. I see there aren't any other hands up at the moment, so I'll just jump in with a question of my own. Yeah, before I do that, I just want to say the poems that you read tonight, it's lovely the way that they have this feeling that they're interconnected, not just because of the place and the theme, but there's a sense of wonder and connection to nature. One gets that feeling that you're immersed in the experience of what you're seeing and experiencing. So that's I think as a collection that will be quite an interesting collection because you'll have this resonance between the poems. Just yeah, at that level. If I have a question, I maybe have 2. So the first one might be, it feels to me, and I don't know if this is just something that I'm aware of with my own writing, but there's a rhythm in the poems that it sort of, you are walking in a lot of the poems. You are moving. There's some kind of mirroring in some way. It feels like the poems get their rhythm a little bit from walking. Is that just something in my head? I don't know if you want to say something about that.
Yeah, as I've said, that it is mainly the theme of the book, because I tried to have a theme of the book when I wrote these poems. It's mainly about hiking. As I've said, that it's about 30 or 35 of them. The first poem is titled At Sunrise. Then there are different titles. Then the last one, which is the 35th, it's talk about at a sunset.
Yes,
So yes. So mainly all of those things have just, even if they've happened or took place on different days, because it's through my experience actually. And I shouldn't forget to also mention that it's, I've also put the experience of tour guides as we hike, because there are some I don't know how can I put it, but there are some things that are beliefs in an African culture, like when you say that if you urinate inside the water, if a boy urinate inside the water, then a crab will come and bite him, so that at the end of the day, he will become a girl. So in other words, that's the way the people, I mean, the children were grown up, so that they will respect the nature. I remember even my grandmother, when there was no sunshine on that day, it's very cold, sort of a dull weather. So we were told to take off our shorts, our trousers, and face our buttocks to the sun and say, "Tunu tunu ilanga libalele." There was a belief that by that, once you finish saying so, that the can will, I mean, that then the sun will come out. So all those things and other poems are there, are things that I've heard said by elder people when we were hiking.
okay, I hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is anyone else who has a question? I do have another question, but is anyone else who'd like to jump in? Melanie, you're up.
I'll show my face. Hi, Sipho.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Thanks.
I enjoyed the steady pace of your poems, and it breathed. There was a lot of air around your descriptions, and I got a sense of light and effervescence. And it came through in some of your phrases. Exuberance like a piece of diamond. Those are refreshing images. And it's made me curious about Crowded Lonely Walk. Because from what Jacques has said, I thought I now want to know what that is about. Because if you have so much light and space in these few, I'm curious about where I can read the poems of Crowded Lonely Walk. So where would I be able to see that?
Okay, ma'am. There is a book. Oh, thanks you for the firstly, let me thank you for the comments. The book, The Crowded Lonely Walk, I've heard, but I'm not sure that they are selling it there at I don't know if it's in A, but at the airport in Cape Town. I don't know which one, but there is a publisher there in Cape Town. The company is Caravan Press.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and the editor of the book is Karina Magdalene. Yes, If you can Google Caravan Press, you will find her details there. That's where you can maybe order the book, The Lonely Crowded Walk. The reason for me to give such a title to that book, I always tell people that in the Bible, there are people who saw Jesus Christ walking with a crowd of people, and they thought that they are walking together. But in fact, those people were taking Jesus to, I don't know which king was that by that time, before he was crucified. So if you see people going together, you have to analyze and analyze again, because they can be crowd, but amongst them, there is someone who's lonely, who's walking alone amongst that crowd. So just don't look at them and take them as a group. Someone might be on that crowd and not by his right. He might be amongst the friends who are doing wrong things, just because at home, maybe he's not working, nobody is working, he's supporting his family about stealing and all doing that stuff. So I've been through such a life where I've been amongst the crowded people, but later I realized that no, I am going alone amongst them. So that is why I given that title, A Crowded Lonely Walk.
Thank you, Sipho. That was, yeah, very interesting little bonus snippet there about the title. But yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Jacques, you have your hand up.
Yes, so I'm curious with these new poems and this new departure, are they, you would think that they are maybe, they're also lonely, would you say, but you are also walking alone, it seems, but there are presences, the mountain is present, the the river is present, the stars are very much present. Do you feel differently when you are walking in nature, when you're hiking? Is that a more or less lonely place for you? Is the loneliness accentuated in a crowd, or do you sort of take it with you where you go?
Yeah. In my books, as I've said, that most of my poems are through my experience.
Mm.
Once I'm amongst the people, that's where I somehow feel lonely.
Mm.
But once I'm between the mountains, the rivers, hearing those singing birds, that's when, or that's a place that I always prefer to be. Sometimes we used to hike, maybe it's 30 of us. Then the other day, once I've experienced that train, I go there again with the sense of understanding the nature in a different way. So I'm much not lonely crowded when I'm at the mountains.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a relaxedness.
Yes, 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 yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jacques and Melanie. Great questions. Sipho, my question is to do with language, and were the poems written in isiZulu, or were they English straight away, and how does it feel to you? Is there a gap between the English and the isiZulu? If you write first in the isiZulu, how do you negotiate, experience the different languages?
Yes, yes. Thank you about that question. You know, even today, I still struggle to understand what do they mean about the first language. My father is from Malawi, came here to South Africa. Yeah, it's a long story. And my mother is from Lesotho. Then when you speak about the first language with me, you might think about between those two. Because my father was speaking Chichewa, my mother was speaking Lesotho. But my first language, I do regard isiZulu as my first language. Then English is the second language. When I write about, when I'm using isiZulu, I just write, go to isiZulu straight as well as in English. There is no way, because there are different, there are many different things that you can't take from isiZulu but it works for other people, but with me, no. I've never even tried it. I just go straight to isiZulu, then assisted by editors as well. English is not my first language, you know. But sometimes I feel that there are other things, because in our generation now, there are things that I don't know how we can contain them. That, like my children, isiZulu, who are speaking isiZulu. Even in our streets, if I can go outside here, many black children, but if you can hear them amongst themselves speaking English, you know. So in isiZulu, they are saying that they should try by all the means to protect the language, to protect isiZulu, because even if they speak to their parents, they speak isiZulu. Even if there's no need, even if they are alone, you know, they rather struggle with isiZulu than English, you know. So that's what happening in our day. But I think societies should be there, should be in a place to protect their languages, because I don't think there's much need for them as black as they are, but communicating in English, even if it's a group of 30 black black students or whatever. Yeah.
Thank you. So would you say that some of your other work is a very conscious decision to write those books, those children's stories in isiZulu? It's a deliberate choice.
Yes, yes, hey, but yeah, it's a deliberate of choice, but the other problem is that what did these languages get into you? Because your choice is also based on what you have learned when you grow up. You know. So yes. So I don't. Yes, although if it's a choice, but there must be an understanding, a certain level of education, saying that my choice is 1 or it's 2 based on 3 and 4. Not just by choice and then it is. Yes, it is. But what makes or what influence that choice that you have made?
Yeah. Okay. No, I hear you. Thank you. Is there anyone else with a question for Sipho, or should we leave it there? Okay. All right. Well, Sipho, thank you very much for your reading. If everyone could please unmute and just give Sipho a hand for those gorgeous poems.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay, it's 8 on this clock over here. So those of you who are keen to read something in the open mic, please come back again in about 4 or 5 minutes. So 8:15 South African time. You're welcome to read your own work, someone else's work that you enjoy. It's and we usually have 2 rounds, so that should be fun. And hope to see you then. Okay.
Thank you.